All right, team, what is going on? Good morning, good evening, or good afternoon. Good morning, good evening, or good afternoon. I hope you're having a beautiful start to the morning. And what I'm going to do is give it 2 minutes for anyone that wants to come in to come in. And then we're just going to do a little bit of maybe a reminder live around why or the kind of feeling of jumping on the scales on the weekend and doing your check and just being like, oh man, this fucking sucks. Because I know how it feels. And I want to maybe just talk this over and explain it and bring some emotional stability to when this actually happens. So if you're coming into this one, guys, you know what to do. Get down in there in the comments. Let us know that you're here. And we're going to be kicking off in 1 minute. So this is actually for my boy, Stewie Owen. But at the same time, I know that this is going to be something that everyone deals with from time to time. And so I think it's a good time to come in and crack this out. So 30 seconds, then we're rocking and rolling. I'll drop this into the UK chat because I know that this is very relevant for our boys. All right, so I think we are ready to rock and roll. Hey, Steve. Hey, Stu. All right, so let's get stuck into this. So the reason I'm doing this very briefly is Stu, who's been with us for a good long time now, and this guy's lost like a ton of weight. He basically just made a comment into the group. Why is it so easy to gain weight, yet so hard to get it off? Life is unfair, really. Ha ha ha. So look, is Stu sitting in a puddle of piss? Probably not, but I think it's a thing that we all go through. Let's face it. This whole weight loss and weight management thing can be very, very emotional. It's full of ups and downs. And, sometimes you feel like you do all the work and it doesn't pay off. And then other weeks you feel like you almost like coasted a little bit and, you lost weight. So straight away, I think it's very cliche to say that weight loss is not a linear process. And it's not. When I was back at home, I did something that I haven't done in a fucking long time with my kids and my brothers and sisters' kids. And we had a game of tug of war, right? You guys know what tug of war is, right? That's what weight loss feels like, right? On one side is you putting in the effort, right? Tugging and doing the work. And on the other side is your body saying, well, hang on, from a survival perspective, this fat stuff can be good. It's actually beneficial because if we go through some massive starvation, remember, your brain is very old. Your brain, its goal is to keep you alive. So this is why you have things like cravings and hunger, is because they're signals from your brain to try to get you to eat. Okay? So then think of it almost like this game of tug of war, and it's like, oh man, and this is why there has to be a level of discipline and willpower involved in this process. But if you can make the habit easier to do, well, then you're going to be more successful over the long term. If you're always just purely reliant on willpower, I'll give you an example, right? So Stu, let's talk about you, my bro. In my house, in my personal house, I don't have. I'm trying to think of what I have. I don't really have anything that I can just completely go haywire on. I'll give you an example. I went to the shops just now and I saw that Halo Top was like a two for $12 deal. So I bought 6 tubs of Halo Top. Like, it's there. So if I want to have ice cream, I'm not relying on willpower. I'm relying on my process and my systems. If we talk about, let's say, if I open my cupboard, there's just no chips and chocolate and the like in there. There's nothing. There's no soft drinks. If I open the fridge, there's fucking shitloads of cans of bubbly. And if I feel like a beer, there is literally low alcohol, low calorie beer, like 90 calorie beers. There's no options there for 150 calorie beers. So I think it's just what we need to understand is that when you're trying to make these habits a behavioral change or a lifestyle, but you've still got all these temptations up around you, it's extremely hard, particularly when your body is saying, I'm craving this, I'm craving sugar, I'm craving soft drink, or whatever it is that you're craving. And half the time, you're not hungry, you're not craving, you're bored, or you're thirsty. But because we lack the awareness, and I can get in the same loops, we lack the awareness, we're just going to kind of, what happens to me, Stu, is when I'm bored or hungry, I walk to the cupboard and I look and there's like a banana, an apple, some tuna cans, some cottage cheese, some rice cakes, some beef jerky, protein bars. There's nothing else for me to go to. So I don't have that. Now, one of the things that you might say is that, yeah, but I have kids, right? Yeah, and that's a commonly used excuse. I have kids, and these kids, they want to eat those things. Sure, but I'll tell you what, if you're wanting to have a mark on your kids as well, guess what? Don't keep chips in the house. Like, reflect the behavior that you're trying to coach yourself into doing. My kids don't have the, personally, I'm not saying, like, I'm not the king of parenting by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm just telling you what I do. If part of the reason that you've got those temptations is in your house is because your kids, you want to have them some treats. My kids eat Halo Top. My kids eat these banana ice creams that are like a little bit of chocolate on top that are 70 calories per bar. My kids, I treat them with strawberries. Like, you've got to condition into your family the same thing. Now, for those of you that have got a partner where it feels a little bit like they're just not on the train with you, that's okay. Maybe that's probably really hard, right? Having a conversation with your partner where you say, can you like lock your shit in the cupboard so it's away from me? That's a hard conversation to have. I don't know what to say there, because if that's the source of the temptation, you kind of go to your cupboard and you got all this stuff there. Well, why is it there in the first place? Because my partner, okay, you got to have some personal accountability here. What I did want to do is come back and just let's talk about what the scales are measuring. What I love about what Stu did just now is I said, Stu, I'm going to do a live on this. And Stu said, Jace, I know what's happened. I've just eaten way more than my calories. I've started, what did he say? Like crisps, chocolate biscuits, glasses of milk, etc. when I'm stressed and tired. I go for the high sugar stuff. Everyone does that. Stu, you're not broken. Everyone does that exact same thing, right? So you got to work on your system so that doesn't happen. So let's pretend you're not Stu and you're thinking to yourself like, how the hell has the weight gone up this week? I don't get that. Like, I feel like I've done everything right? And Stu says, yeah, my kids and the wife like biscuits. Exactly. Okay, so that's what we need to change. I do digress. One of the things that you've kind of mentioned here is that, you feel like I jump on the scales and I look at the scales and I go, I've done everything right. Like, what has happened here? Well, there's a possibility that you may be misinterpreting the results, number one, if you can't explain away the scales, right? So in your case, Stu, you said, hey, it's because I just went way over my calories and that's a behavior that I'm trying to condition in. But let's say that that's not you. Let's say that you're looking at the scales and you're like, oh, I did everything right this week. What's going on? When you jump on the scales, you have to remember that you're weighing not just fat, you're weighing the entire contents of your body. Now, let's say that I take this bottle of water, which is a liter, and I drink this bottle of water literally in let's say a minute time. Once I've drunk the bottle of water, if I can smash this down in one go, I'm going to weigh 1 kilogram more. Fat. I haven't put on fat. I weigh 1 kilogram more because this is now on the outside of the scales. Now it's on the inside of my body, so therefore it's on the scales. It sounds very obvious, but when you have done everything right, and that is more often in 97% of cases, that's not the case. But let's say you had philosophically done everything right. Well, I just want you to think about what are the different ways the scales might be showing up a lie. As in, yes, you weigh more, but for good reason. You're more hydrated. You have introduced a little bit more carbohydrate into your diet. You are reverse dieting, therefore increasing your calories. You are building some muscle. Let's say that you have underslept and have quite a stressful week. You're going to retain some level of water under those because your body is inflamed. What does that even mean? That means when the body is sensing some level of, and training in the gym hard is a great example of this. You guys notice when you go for a workout and you feel the pump? What is the pump? The pump is the blood sitting inside the muscles, number one, and then after the workout in the ensuing days, you'll have water retention sitting inside the muscles because the muscle has been damaged, which is the point of doing resistance training, to damage the muscle fibers so that we can bring in some nutrients and rebuild bigger muscle. That's how the muscle grows, through breakdown and repair, right? So let's say that you had philosophically done everything right, which is, again, not the case for the absolute vast majority of the time. It might just be that actually you're carrying a little bit more water, you've eaten a little bit more carbohydrate, you haven't been to the toilet yet, you've drunken more water so you're better hydrated, you've got undigested food in your stomach. Think about it, right? If I sat down and ate a 250 gram steak with a 200 gram side of potatoes, then I had a glass of wine, then I had a dessert, like that might weigh a kilo. So that's going to show up on the scales. So I guess I just wanted to come in and kind of talk this out. So let's kind of look at this from a hierarchy. Let's look at this from the top down. Number one, if you step on the scales this week and you've put on weight, you want to just ask yourself, like, can I explain why that's happened? And if you can, like, honestly, just be really honest with yourself, explain it away, well, then that's fine. Yeah, it's because I probably ate a bit more than I should have. What did you learn from that? Don't like get in a doom loop when you know what the cause of it was. Let's say that you can't explain it. Well, then I've given you the likely explanation here. It's either that you're building muscle, you still got water retention, you're inflamed from your workouts, you had a highly stressed, underslept week, and you're holding water. Something's going on there, or maybe you just ate like a bit of an arsehole, so you put on some fat. It's no big deal, because if you're playing this game over the long term and you think that you're going to avoid birthday parties, weddings, hens and bucks nights, kids parties, so that you never put on weight, that's not the way to think about it. The final point that I just really did want to raise is that, if you're part of Better Body Academy, this is the importance of doing weights. Wait, you're not going to see, when you lift weights, a massive increase in your calorie burn immediately. It doesn't work like that. However, it's an investment for the long term. The great thing about doing weights is you build a bigger engine. And when you build a bigger engine, what that means is that you have the ability to burn more calories even when you're sitting there doing nothing. So everyone wants to lose weight when actually what you really want to be thinking about is keeping it off. How do I keep it off? What that means is building a strong metabolism, making sure that you're building some level of a decent muscle to fat ratio while you're young enough to be able to build it. Because as soon as you start to get over the years of 60, 70. It gets hard to do. Even like unicorns like Nick Friend, for example, who's touching 60 and seems to be building some muscle. He's probably not building a huge amount of muscle. What it actually is that he's just reducing body fat so much that his composition looks so much better, right? But trying to build muscle is hard. And so if you focus on giving yourself that kind of bigger engine at the start, that is going to be the thing that's going to set you up for the rest of your life. And it's really a difficult conversation to have with any client. You are going to struggle, I feel like, whilst nutrition is the most important thing in managing your calories in the short term, you are going to struggle all of your life unless you're able to build a strong metabolism and make sure that you can get away with eating more, having more tolerance in your calories without putting on body fat every time you eat 100 or 200 or 300 calories over your maintenance. Does this make sense? So, hey, dude. All right, so hopefully this has been beneficial, guys. Just wanted to pop in and I've just realized I've actually done this live publicly. But anyway, I didn't mean to do that. Hopefully it's been helpful. Hopefully you got some value out of it, and I'll see you guys in the next time.